What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the tavern. I'm Spencer.
And I'm Eli.
And this is Bardic Blunders. Uh, so we got a few interesting topics to talk about today. We had the state of play yesterday that nothing really huge was announced at, but the state of play really isn't for announcing the big games. It's kind of for smaller projects. But first, we want to talk about what's up, cheese. Can't wait to Bardic till I blunder. Uh, hey, so the first thing we want to cover: AI is being frustratingly misused, and frankly, it's infuriating to watch because it's becoming just like any other thing. It's up Razor Bolt. It's coming just like any other thing where corporations see it and they're like, "Ooh, this could make us a profit. We could make more money off of this," and that's all it's being used for. It's
Yes.
not actually being pushed towards any sort of useful innovation.
Do you want me to say the thing that I saw the other day?
Yeah, go
Because
for
I
it.
thought it was super dope. So it was a live. It was. So I did a little bit more research today. It was a student project. Um, to basically make an AI more useful.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, what did they do? They took Um, sorry, I'm kind of playing Civ. So,
Trying to play a strategy game while talking.
best idea ever. But they took an AI and basically had it do all the bookkeeping for a library. Like top to bottom bookkeeping.
Thank you, group. Yeah, that's what AI should be used for. Absolutely.
Like it handles all the returns, so you just come up, you put your um book in the slot, and it'll return it, scan it, so you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Like, yeah, that's the kind of thing AI could be useful for. And I know we talked about it a little bit when I was playing Elden Ring yesterday. Another thing it's useful for is taking tedium out of certain tasks. Like for a writing group for a video game, when they have to, write everything and write dialogue and all that kind of stuff, you can use an AI to write a bunch of background dialogue for NPCs, random NPCs, like the NPCs you run into on the street in GTA.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing you can use AI for. Like, hey, write me 300 random phrases that you would hear from an everyday person. Write me another 300 for those people if they were panicked. And
Yeah.
then it's just like, then you can pass off those phrases to the voice actor to be voiced, and then off to the developers to be added into the game. You don't have to have somebody sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is scary. Oh man, what a experience. Oh, well, look, like, you don't have to have somebody sit there and just write a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
That's what AI should be used for. The menial tasks. But instead,
Exactly.
it's being used to push a profit. Hey, what jobs can we get rid of replacing them with AI? And it's not, oh, let's replace this job sorting things with AI. It's let's replace all of our writers and voice actors with AI. Like, no. Our writers, our artists, our like any of that kind of like freaking Coke putting out that Christmas ad that was all AI. Yeah, I'm sorry, that ad was a hunk of junk and it made me not want to drink Coke. Granted, I already don't drink Coke. I think Coke tastes like battery acid, but still, there's this, just like I feel with most things. There's a middle ground where you have the extremists on one side saying AI is the future, we got to develop AI and use it in everything. And the other people who are like, AI is dangerous, it needs to be murdered, we can't use it at all, it's, get rid of it. There's a spot in the middle where it's like we can use AI to benefit us. It is just unfortunately being used by companies to make money.
Oh yeah, it's so dumb because like you could easily make AI so useful.
100%.
But to that it basically does all the menial labor, so people like us people can go and focus on the things they actually want to fucking do.
Yeah. And I mean, there's other interesting things about it, like the whole the mod for Lethal Company, where the Bracken copies your friends' voices and it uses mimicry to try and trick you.
Also, really cool. That's
Curd.
curd, yeah.
Scared and cool. Because it's terrifying.
Makes you go, uh-oh, spaghetti-o.
Yeah, but like that's the kind of things that AI should be used for, not how can we profit. I'll give a similar example. I watched a video. It's been a while. It's been probably about a month or two since I've watched the video, but it was talking about how advertisers ruined cookies for websites. Anybody who doesn't know what a cookie is, it's basically whenever you visit a website and it asks you, hey, will you let us share cookies? The website is saying, hey, we want to be able to recognize you easier next time you visit us. Because that would make it so okay. I'll break down what the initial thought for it was. I don't remember who it was who initially came up with the idea for cookies, but they looked at it and they put it into place because it was basically before cookies were invented. Every single time you visited a website in the internet, it was like the first time you were visiting the website. It did not remember your computer. Yeah. There was no capability for that. So if you visited an online store to try and purchase something and you had it in your cart and you had filled out part of your credit card information, but for some reason you had to close the website or anything like that, you had to start from square one because the website didn't even remember. It's like, hold on, you're a new person. It doesn't matter that it's the same computer at the same IP address. You have never existed on this website before, and as soon as you close the website, you once again cease to exist in its eyes. So cookies were made as a way to have a website remember you. Like, hey, here's a cookie.
Yeah.
The cookie is left with the website, and you have some of the website's cookies left on your machine, and it makes it so the website can recognize, hey, wait a minute, you were here recently. Now, the initial idea was that cookies would wear off after 14 days. I don't remember the exact period that they had set for it, but eventually we'll say the cookies go bad and the website doesn't recognize you anymore. This idea was created and immediately grabbed by advertisers.
Oh yeah.
And it's a really interesting video. Let me see if I can find the video because it was fascinating to listen to. The original development team who created the idea of cookies had to the video is called How Advertisers Ruined a Good Idea by YouTuber Reject Convenience. And it basically, the developers had the choice. We can either release this out, we can open a bottle that we can never close, Because once this is out, it's out. There's nothing we can do about it.
Oh
Or
yeah.
we can just straight up nuke this idea that we had and set the internet back. Like, you're either hamstringing the human race or you're putting them in a bad position. And ultimately, since their idea for cookies was already out there, they were like, well, if we don't release this, somebody else is just going to make it and we won't have any say over it. So we have to release it. It makes more sense to release it.
It's safer that we do it and not somebody else.
Exactly. I really recommend to anybody go watch that video. It's 20 minutes long, but I think it's absolutely fascinating. Of course, that is just me personally. I find a lot of that old internet kind of stuff fascinating. But that with the Pokemon Fusion group, that's really cool. Like, that's a fantastic use of AI. I think the mods people have been making for games like Skyrim, where the NPCs respond in real time to what you say, I think that's really fascinating.
That's
an incredible use for AI. And you know what? I can see the merit in AI editors for, like, hey, I wrote an essay. I want you to go through and see if I had any typos. And if I had a typo, don't correct it, highlight it. Highlight every single typo. Now, granted, you don't need AI for that. You can create an algorithm for that. That's been something that's been in Microsoft Word and anything like that for decades now.
So my thing is, I do a lot of typing because I like to write.
Right.
Microsoft has just added an AI feature where you just plug in the story you want to tell, hit enter, and it'll start writing.
That's bad. I don't like that.
And can I just say, I wanted to see what it did, because I was like, this is interesting. Let me read what it wrote. It had more spelling errors and grammar issues than I do.
Yeah.
And I can get up to about 100 words a minute.
And that's the other thing is, the AI plagiarizes because it just steals like sentences direct from the internet. That's the issue that exists with AI writers like that. Okay, I'm going to read out group stories from a professor. His team was tasked to improve comfort in airplanes. They did a ton of research, and the linchpin of the whole thing was that there simply wasn't enough room. They completely overhauled the seat design, made the backs twice as thin to get the needed extra space. Solution achieved, right? The company said, oh, great, now we can fit more seats in. Yep. Whatever can make us more money. That is always the MO for companies. Always.
Terrible.
How can we make more money? Consumer be damned. I absolutely despise corporations.
Yeah.
It's the exact thing. It's the exact thing that ruins the video game industry. It's what drove Rooster Teeth into the ground. Because it was not about entertainment anymore. It was about the bottom line. And when you look at the bottom line, you ruin everything.
I remember when fucking Rooster Teeth was less like, hey, let's try and make money. It was more like, we're just a bunch of idiots making videos because we think it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well,
I loved that.
I've been listening to more of the Morning Somewhere. I've been listening to almost every day now.
Yeah.
Because it's nice to listen to Bernie, and he's had Gavin and Jeff on, and Jack. He was talking about how, I think it was the episode with Jeff. He was talking about how he would explain Achievement Hunter to somebody, and they'd be like, "Oh, so they're like really good at video games. They're like professional gamers." And he's like, "No, they're actually terrible at video games." And everybody watches them. I'm like, well, yeah, exactly, because they were funny. They didn't need to be fantastic at video games. Now, you had the certain, like, Ray playing Call of Duty, who was just absolutely insane. You know, you had moments like that, but yeah, for the most part, it was just a group of 6 guys sucking at video games and being entertaining. That's what it was.
Exactly.
So, but then, yeah, it gets to the point, and I've heard people highlight different reasons for why Rooster Teeth went under. Oh, they went woke. Oh, they got bloated. Oh, they this and that and that. And ultimately, I think they got bloated was one of the things, but the reason they got bloated was not because, oh, hey, let's just start a bunch of shows. It was, hey, people like this person that is part of a group, so give them their own podcast. Oh, but we already have 7 podcasts running. Doesn't matter. We need another podcast. That's what, dude. There were shows that I didn't even know existed when Rooster Teeth went under. I'm like, what even is this? Now, are some of them funny? Yeah, of course. But I'm not going to watch. Okay, when it comes to podcasts, specifically just podcasts, the only 3 that I ever watched from Rooster Teeth were The Patch, the RT Podcast, and Off Topic. I watched like 2 or 3 episodes of Always Open, but I was not a consistent viewer of that. It just wasn't my audience. I wasn't the audience for that.
Yeah.
And those were like the 4 podcasts they had when we watched it. And then it like they ended up with like 25 other podcasts, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, but it's not because they just decided, hey, let's launch 25 podcasts. It's because the suits look at it and go, oh, hey, well, you have these 4 podcasts that are really successful. Make more.
Yeah. Oh, podcasts are making money because we can sell ad revenue on them.
Yep. Yep. Not to mention, you post those long-form content to YouTube. Long-form content makes bank on YouTube for ads. Streams are the exception on YouTube because streams don't, I mean, you can put ads on your stream, but from what I've experienced, it seems like most streamers don't, because that just destroys the experience.
Yeah.
If they're going to be ads on it, it's because they're sponsored. But yeah, you have a 2.5 hour.
Potato McWhiskey had a big thing here recently. He's a really big Civilization streamer.
Right.
And he was basically, a bunch of people were like, you're when you sell out, basically, is what they were telling him. They're like, you sold out to go do all this Civ stuff. And he was like, what do you mean? I don't take money for that.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, you do. You take all this money. And he's like, I don't do any of that because I try and protect the people who watch my stuff.
Right. Well, and that's what I can respect Pirate Software for it, and it's the same way I feel. if I were to get big enough that I started being contacted by advertisers, I will never advertise something that I would not personally use. So like
Yeah.
you would never catch me advertising G Fuel or Surfshark VPN or something like that. You're not going to catch me advertising that because most of those things I'm not going to personally use. Selling out has absolutely lost all meaning because they think that getting money is selling out. Like, you know what? No, I can respect somebody for taking an advertisement and you know, hey, this video is sponsored by so and so. The only problem is most YouTubers don't vet the advertisers that contact them, which is how you get advertisers like Honey and BetterHelp and what was the one that said you would buy a piece of Scottish land and that makes you a lord or a lady? Established titles. Like those are all scams. And you know what? When it comes to a VPN does not protect you on the internet at all. You use a VPN if you're wanting to download something on the internet that, like, you know what? If you have a show on Netflix you really want to watch, but it's not in your country, you can use a VPN.
A region locked.
Yeah, anything that's region locked, you can use a VPN to get around it. Or, you know, in the case of like, hey, I want to browse this web, like for example, there's a website that I have seen people use that lets you watch NHL games, but it's blocked in America because of American laws. If you use a VPN, you can watch it from a different country. That's what a VPN is used for, not any of this protecting yourself when you're on the internet BS. A VPN doesn't do that. So,
yeah,
like, I'm not going to advertise a VPN because 98% of people don't need a VPN. It's just not useful. But you, like, that's something, like, at least a VPN isn't a downright scummy business. A lot of the other ones, like, I don't know if you've seen, I keep a pulse on YouTube advertising scams, mainly just because the videos float into my recommended and I watch them and I'm like, oh wow. BetterHelp, I don't know if you've seen that one, proclaims to be a therapy website where you can go on and get a therapist.
Oh yeah. Yeah, nope, I have seen it.
Yeah, it's a complete scam. None of them are licensed therapists. There was another one called Established Titles that claimed it would give you a piece of land in Scotland. You're buying a certificate that you own a like 1 square foot piece of land in Scotland, and based on Scottish law, that means you're a lord or a lady. It was a complete hoax. And we talked about the Honey one on here. Like, all of these different companies are awful. They're just scams, or, you know, and that's the kind of thing that selling out means. If you look into what a company does, you fully understand that they're not advantageous for anybody who you're advertising to, and you still take their money, that's selling out.
Yeah.
If I had my whole thing where I'm against the NFL and then the NFL was like, hey, let's sponsor you. And I went, yeah, hey, the NFL is great, guys. That's selling out. Just taking an advertisement to get money is not selling out. Also, I kind of want to look up what this Maldavis fig tree thing is.
Excuse me,
what?
what?
Of people, Pirate Software has been in some hot water recently, and Group just mentioned that. Said to look that up after stream, but I kind of want to look that up now. But while I'm looking that up, we can talk about the Sony State of Play, which just before we dive into the games that were shown here, everybody ends up expecting some incredibly revolutionary thing at these State of Plays. Or, you know,
there never is.
Yeah, there never is. Same thing with I don't remember what the Xbox one is called, but I think it's just called the Xbox Showcase or something like that. They don't show off their big games. Nintendo's the one that shows off the big games at their Nintendo Direct. But Xbox and Sony never have. They've always waited for something like the Game Awards or something big like that to announce major titles.
Because it makes them more money.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly
That's all these companies care about.
Like, what these companies aren't going to advertise Bloodborne 2. Like, PlayStation's not coming out and saying, "Hey, here comes Bloodborne 2. We're making a new, like what's another PlayStation property? We're making a new Spyro game." Like, they're not going to come out with anything major. Bloodborne 2, time to commit a crime. Now, I will say there was some pretty big stuff at this state of play that I think is very interesting. Yeah, group, that's exactly it. Selling out is advertising a product or service you wouldn't let someone you care about use. Exactly. And that's, I mean, it's 100%. Like, I've been very vocally against the NFL. I love football, but I think the NFL is fudging their product. I think they're legitimately affecting the outcome of games using refs. So I'm currently not watching the NFL. I didn't watch a single second of the Super Bowl, and I don't plan to watch the NFL next year. And selling out would be if I had an NFL YouTube channel, and the NFL is like, "Hey, we're going to sponsor you," and I'm like, "Hey guys, the NFL is great," after spending a bunch of time talking about how much I hate the NFL. Like, that, 100%, that would be selling out, because I'm making money off of it. So I'm gonna, if money changes your, if money affects your opinion on something, if somebody can pay you to have a different opinion, that's selling out.
You know what? I can be paid to have a different opinion, but bet your ass it's going to be a lot of money.
See, well, and that depends on the thing, too. Because, you know what? No, I'm not going to advertise BetterHelp to people. I'm not going to let people waste their money on a fake therapist service that might put them in a worse situation than they were before. Because not only are they spending money on something that doesn't even work, they're not even getting a real therapist. Like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna do that to people. I don't care how much money they give me. $10
bajillion.
Yeah, man, that sucks. Okay. So, state of play from yesterday. We got Saros, which is another game from the devs of Returnal, which I never played Returnal. I know a lot of people liked it. We got a new Metal Gear Solid game, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. We got a release date for Borderlands 4, September 23rd of this year.
Okay.
Raid Shadow Legends really showed us how willing people are for. Yeah, oh my gosh, dude! Raid Shadow Legends is another one. It's like, that's a trash game. I would never let Raid Shadow Legends sponsor me. I'm not going to make. Okay, I was willing to try Raid Shadow Legends the first time I saw somebody was sponsored by them. And I can tell you exactly who it was. It was JonTron. I was watching JonTron. He got sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. I'm like, you know what? I'll check it out. The game sucks. It's hardly a game. It's terrible. It's awful. It's boring. Don't play it. Don't let them advertise you. The new Metal Gear is a remake of MGS3. Oh, okay. Onimusha Way of the Sword won't be released until 2026. That one's not a name I recognize. Tides of Annihilation revealed. Not heard of that one. Days Gone is getting a remaster. Mind's Eye gets a gameplay trailer, a release window. Warriors Abyss is a new roguelite launching today on PS5 and PS4. Sonic Racing, that's interesting. Stellar Blade gets Nikki crossover and PC port release window. Oh, cool. There's a PC port. That's all I care about that. Lies of P DLC Overture. Lies of P Overture. That's cool. That's probably the biggest news you're going to get at a state of play.
Yeah.
WWE 2K25. Like, okay, whatever. Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Wait, Shinobi? This is a beloved franchise that will launch on PS5 and PS4 in August. Wow. Shinobi. That sounds familiar. Hold on. I have to look that up now. Oh, I never played this game, but I definitely recognize it. Oh, that's sweet. We're getting a freaking sequel to a PS2 game. Phenomenal. Metal Eden is an adrenaline rush sci-fi FPS headed to PS5. Okay. Lost Soul Aside, not heard of that. Monster Hunter Wilds. Split Fiction. That was that game that debuted for the Game Awards. That's the going through the two worlds of sci-fi and
Oh yeah, that weird one.
yeah, sci-fi and prehistoric. Like, was there any news about Catley? That wouldn't be at a state of play. That was for Steam. So we'll see if there is Catley news though. Get hyped for Catley. Also, a new Digimon game? What? Hold on, I don't care about the rest of this stuff. Where's the Digimon game? Digimon Storytime Stranger. We're getting a freaking Digimon game in the year of our Lord 2025? I didn't think anybody remembered what Digimon was. Wow, that's interesting. See, like, this is a pretty stacked state of play. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here. But the number of people on Twitter who got mad because we didn't get Hollow Knight Silk Song, or this podcast was sponsored by Catley. But yeah, like, we
That's
didn't get
pretty
Silk
funny.
Song, we didn't get Bloodborne 2, we didn't get, like, you're not gonna get those for these. Like, seriously. Oh my gosh, Ian, you don't know what Digimon is? Stop it. It was a massive competitor to Pokemon back in the 90s.
And it's gone now.
Silk Song would never be at a state of play. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
What? Oh, yeah, Digimon. Yeah, Digimon can't even compare to Pokemon now. It's not even in the same league. Games have been getting weird now. We're slowly getting out of the remake era. Yeah. See, I don't think there's an issue with remakes. I think the issue crops up when every single game releasing is a remake. Which one came first?
Yeah.
I think Digimon came first.
Yeah. Digimon came out, I believe, the same year as Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, no. Pokemon was published in 96, a year before Digimon. 97 for Digimon. I will say Digimon is definitely not a knockoff. It is completely different than Pokemon. Aside from having the little monsters, they don't evolve in Digimon like they do in Pokemon. They like augment themselves in battle, and I don't even know how to explain Digimon. It's a completely different concept from Pokemon. It's not a knockoff, Ian. Oh, hold on. In Japan, Digimon came out before Pokemon did, but Pokemon came out in America before Digimon.
Yeah.
So Digimon was first. Digimon was before Pokemon. Uh, it's not a knockoff of Pokemon, Ian. Yeah, that's exactly it, Razor. Remakes aren't bad. The only problem I have is when it's like when we get a game release schedule and it's like Silent Hill remake, Resident Evil remake, Dark Souls remake. We're getting a remake of some freaking PS2 game that nobody ever played. Like why is every single thing a remake? Like, you know what? There are certain ones like when they said they were remaking I think it was Legacy of Kain. Yeah, absolutely remake that. Don't remake Skyrim for the 25th time. For crap's sake, go back and remake Morrowind and Oblivion. Like, do that instead of remaking Skyrim again. Like, that's the issue I have with remakes. Most of them are just lazy. I'm not saying Pokemon is a knockoff, Ian. I'm saying they're two completely different franchises that competed with each other. Do you know how many quote-unquote pocket monster franchises Japan has had? Especially in the 90s.
A lot.
So many. So many. A ridiculous amount. There are some that still stick around to this day that have just never made their way out of Japan. Now there are legitimate, yeah, Persona 3 needed its remake. That absolutely, Razorbolt. Persona 3 needed a remake because that get like, and I can reason Silent Hill remake. I can reason the Resident Evil remake. I was just using those as examples. The issue that we get into is when you start talking about they're making a Horizon Zero Dawn remake. That game came out in 2017. It doesn't need a remake. Last of Us. Last of Us came out in 2013. It didn't need a remake. And it especially didn't need a remake of the remake. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, the nostalgia bait is huge. But definitely, like, it's just like, why are we making so many pointless remakes? Like, you know what? 20 years down the line, yeah, remake a game. Hollow Knight Remastered's gonna come out before Silksong does. Yeah, that's exactly it, Razorbolt. See, there are Pokemon remakes that I think make sense, but also Pokemon remakes I think were just terrible. Like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, those are fantastic. Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, those are trash. Those are bad. What's your question, Ian? But that, yeah, you want to know another? It's not technically a remake, but it was a useless sequel. Freaking Overwatch. Which, oh boy, Overwatch has had some interesting news coming out these past few days. They're innovating. They're learning. Overwatch is actually trying to fix things. Excuse me. Count all. That's not a question, Ian. So I don't know if everybody's seen this yet, but Overwatch is making sweeping changes to the way their game runs. Uh, they're so okay. Let's get the meme thing out of the way first. They're adding loot boxes back.
Memes.
Loot boxes are coming back. You know when Overwatch is reaching into their bag of tricks to pull out loot boxes, that they are truly desperate. Oh yeah, they've spent so long complacent because there hasn't been a competitor, and then Marvel Rivals comes and delivers them a royal beatdown, and they're like, "Oh crap, we actually have to try now." Like before Rivals came out, what did we have? We had they dropped it from 6v6 to 5v5. They got rid of loot boxes and just made an incredibly predatory battle pass, and you know, like paying $20 freaking for a skin. Then you know they canned the story mode, the PvE, like that kind of stuff. It's just bad. Overwatch was falling into a burning dumpster fire. And then, see, you can bring up Paladins, Ian, but that never caught on like Overwatch. That never got even close to Overwatch's popularity. It was never as big. But Rivals comes out, and it actually, it's not just like, oh, hey, we have another hero shooter competitor. It became the hero shooter. People were ditching Overwatch to go play Rivals, which is not what had not happened before. Every other hero shooter just fell apart. Excuse me. So now Overwatch is actually trying to fix some things. And I gotta admit, a lot of it's very interesting. And I think they might make the game better. Still not gonna play it, but hey, if Overwatch starts bringing their A game, Rivals has to keep bringing their A game. So the fact that Overwatch's biggest competitor was TF2, and the fact that there was a time when TF2 was actually a solid competitor before it got invaded by bots, good grief. There was actually a period of time when TF2 was competing with Overwatch. A game from freaking 2007 was competing with a game from like 2022, I think is when Overwatch 2. Warframe is completely different from Overwatch 2. It's not a hero shooter. Yes, I did see the marriage skins for Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic. I really like those. Those are really sweet. For the burning pile of trash, it was Concord. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, the fact that Overwatch is trying to innovate is good. And we'll go through the innovations now. So, they're adding perks, which are passive and active upgrades for every hero unlocked during quick play and competitive matches. Which, one of... What's up, Dauntless? Yeah, it's... Oh, yeah, Eli, I don't know if you noticed, I named this episode Nice because it's episode 69. We're at the funny sex
what
number.
What is wrong with you?
So one of the examples that I saw, I don't remember what was it, Anna? The ability? It basically, in the video, it showed she jumps up, she throws out her normal thing, and normally the thing that normally what her ability did was where it hit, it repelled everybody away from that location. Well, in the middle of the match, it gave this guy the option to switch that to attracting everybody to the middle of that location when it hits. Which is really interesting. It is. Like, it changes the ability completely. And that's the kind of thing that can really innovate a game. By that logic, BO3, Black Ops 3. So
Blocks.
I think that that perks are a great idea. That kind of thing. changing little things throughout the match. It lets people customize the hero they want to play. It makes it so different team comps can work. Because if it's like, okay, partway through the match, I'm going to take this thing to augment my character, and that's gonna synergize with this character really well.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Stadium. Overwatch is adding a third primary mode from quick play and competitive. A third person, by default, round based mode where players purchase upgrades and craft builds between rounds. So it's like Valorant.
Okay.
We got 6v6 is coming back. New hero, which is whatever. They're bringing back loot boxes, and they're adding hero bands and competitive. Digimon game, let's go. Yeah, Overwatch is definitely... I think they're a little late in the uptake, but I'm glad they're trying something. But they were also painted into a corner. They were complacent for so long because... Like, name anything. Any hero shooter that even came close to competing with Overwatch before Rivals. There wasn't one. You can name Paladins. Paladins was probably the closest, but it did not catch on like Overwatch. It was one of those ones where it was like, well, if you don't like Overwatch, you can go play Paladins. Overwatch is letting you pick now, Ian. You can choose between first person and third person. So, yeah, it's like that. I'm glad they're at least attempting to innovate because it's also going to force Marvel Rivals to stay innovative. I don't know. I'd put Counter-Strike in the same. Like it's not really a hero shooter. I'd say Counter-Strike is closer to. I mean, Counter-Strike's kind of its own thing because it's not quite like Call of Duty, but it's a team shooter, that's for sure. Rainbow Six is a fair comparison. Oh! You meant Rainbow Six when you said Counter-Strike. Okay, Rainbow Six is a fair comparison. Even then, I don't think it quite fills the same niche as the hero shooter. It's a little bit more strategic than most of the hero shooters. You don't like have an ultimate that you charge up or anything like that. The way I look at it, hero shooters are like first person MOBAs. Rainbow Six is probably it's a close comparison. I can at least see that, and I can see people saying, "Yeah, I'd rather play Rainbow Six than Overwatch." When we're talking about that kind of genre, Rainbow Six works. Rainbow Six works, but I still think there's enough differences. Because like League has a lot of similarities. League is like, okay, you have your Q ability, your W ability, your E ability, and then your ultimate is your R. Battleborn. Oh my gosh, yeah, Battleborn. Yes, group, absolutely. Rainbow Six is to Overwatch. What Arma is to COD. That's an apt description. So it's interesting that Overwatch is trying something. It's at least trying something. We can meme on the loot boxes because that's really funny that they're desperate enough. They're like, hey, we'll bring loot boxes back. Remember those? Remember 2016, everybody? That was cool, right? Love us again, please. But I don't know. I mean, I think Overwatch is going to stick around just on the merit of it's Overwatch. But they've definitely got to do a lot to stay, at least keep pace with Rivals. Yeah, the PvE cancellation is still baffling to me. That makes no sense. But yeah, they got a long way to go before they can really keep up with rivals, but I think they're going to stick around just on the virtue of it's Overwatch and it gets players because it's
It,
Overwatch.
yeah,
I
exactly.
actually wonder how many monthly or weekly players, however you're. Where do people check that? Is that on Steam or is that?
Yeah.
It's a lore-heavy series with no story elements. Story elements like League of Legends. Yeah, except League of Legends is actually doing a good job at adding story. Yeah, unlike League, they're not really adding any story element. All you get is like a 2-minute clip on YouTube. Yeah, that's what Overwatch has a solid basis, which is why people are sticking with it. The thing is, it was getting stale, which is why so many people were leaving. Uh, but definitely, I think Overwatch will stick around. I just it's gotta keep innovating. It can't stay stagnant with the way Rivals has come in and just freaking slapped its junk on the
Annihilated.
table like try me. Um but yeah. Absolutely treating players like trash, but at core Overwatch is fun. Yeah, and that's my thing. Like I played Overwatch 2 for a little bit and I never really like I never really got into it. There was the concept of the game was fun, but every time I got into a match, I would just feel upset and like this sucks. Why did I play this?
Like League of Legends.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Except League of Legends sunk its dirty little claws into me for a lot longer than Overwatch did. Overwatch was a pretty quick it was pretty quick to fall out. I never got addicted to it like I did League of Legends. League of Legends had me in a chokehold for a while, which is why I refuse to go back. I'm not relapsing. It's not happening. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of things League has left up to mystery with a lot of its characters where it's like, yeah, I want to learn more about that. And
Yeah, no.
and Overwatch did kind of just blow their load on all the story stuff. But Heroes of the Storm is better than League. I've never really I never played Heroes of the Storm. I know Alex likes it. Uh Alex is also just more into MOBAs than I am. I never played Dota.
Yeah.
I think the only MOBA I've ever played is League of Legends. Yeah, that's exactly it, group. And I when I'm into Marvel Rivals right now. I don't really have an open slot for another hero shooter, so I'm gonna stick with Rivals, especially because Rivals is Marvel. Are you telling me I can play as freaking Moon Knight? That's cooler than anything Overwatch has to offer. I'm sorry, none of the Overwatch characters are as cool or as interesting to me as Moon Knight. You show me Heroes of the Storm. I might be down to try it. I've just so pulled myself away from MOBAs that I'm like I'm afraid if I get into one again, I'm gonna get into it and it's gonna absorb me, and I don't want to do that. I don't wanna.
I don't
I want to
wanna.
stay clean. I don't want to relapse. um. But yeah, actually, funny enough, coinciding with Overwatch announcing loot boxes, League announced they're getting rid of Hextech chests,
Wow.
which I actually respected League's Hextech chests. League stream
because
at
you could
500
earn them.
subs. No, I'm not gonna do a league stream at 500 subs. But yeah, exactly that. Hey, you got an S. You got an S rank in that game because you played phenomenally.
You
Phenomenally. Here's a Hex Tech chest for your troubles for playing so well. It's a non-funded game anymore. No more updates as of 5 years ago, so it's all gameplay. That's fair. It's still it's a MOBA. I have a feeling it might make me angry. League always made me angry. One of the reasons I stopped playing it.
you wouldn't like me when you wouldn't like Scrumpets when he's angry.
I don't like myself when I'm angry. Legitimately, you want me to stream League? That's all you'll get. You'll just get me angry. It's not even going to be entertaining. I'm just going to be mad. League is on a massive downhill after Arcane 2. I still haven't watched Arcane.
Yeah, season 2 didn't go over so well.
I heard.
Can I make you my ally?
See, I was more interested in the League adjacent projects like the MMO that they were talking about and the fighting game. Like those kind of things seem more interesting to me. Maybe not the MMO. Like I'm not big into MMOs either. But the Overwatch loot boxes were great. They rewarded you for playing and gave you a lot of coins you could use to just buy more skins. See that's exactly it. I want to be able to earn things in the game for playing well. And that is one thing I can criticize Rivals for. There's nothing like that. They come out with the events where it's like, yeah, play the game, complete these tasks, and you unlock stuff for the event. But they don't have anything like a loot box where it's like, hey, you had a good game, here's a loot box. Spin it, you might get a skin, you might get something like that'd be awesome. Instead, it's just, hey, you gotta buy everything. Like that is one thing I can criticize Rivals for. I wish they had something you could earn from playing well, because that incentivizes you to play the game more. Now, what I think League did correctly is, hey, you got an S on that champion. You got your Hextech chest from that one. That's it for the week. If you want another Hextech chest,
go play
play different champions. Yeah, exactly. You can't just keep spamming you can't be a one trick, spam your main and constantly get Hextech chests. You have to branch out. If you play for 53 years, you might earn enough from the free battle pass to buy a skin. Yeah, exactly. I want something attainable. Like, I can at least respect their battle pass for not being incredibly expensive, and you can keep working at it after the season's over. Like, that's the kind of stuff I can respect, but still, I want to be able to earn things in the game without having to pay for them. Because there's a lot of skins that if I got the skin, I'd be like, yeah, I'll use it, but I'm not going to spend freaking $15 on it. Because why would I do that?
Yeah.
But just to transition over to our last topic, with a lack of a segue, difficulty in gaming has apparently been a hot button issue recently. And I don't get it. I really don't get it. So the thing I've seen it in a lot is there are people who are the Dark Souls kind of people. You got the Punisher 2077 bundle for free. How? Remember when skins showed skill and not wallet size? Exactly. Okay, just to go back to it for a second. Halo Reach. Halo Reach. In the original Halo Reach, there was a way to get to the point where what you unlocked was it Master Chief's skin where you could play as you could be Master Chief in the multiplayer. I know you had to progress to a certain point. You had to play the game enough, and you unlocked this skin that made it clear, like, oh, that guy has had to play a lot of Halo Reach.
No, it was the skull and the helmet.
Yes, it was Emil's helmet. Where you see that and you're like, uh-oh, that person's good. That's the way it should be.
That person has been playing a lot of Halo.
Yeah, uh-oh, I'm in danger. But, so yes, the difficulty, the thing I've been seeing it with recently is people are talking about Doom the Dark Ages and how the people legitimately saying the game is bad because it's going to have an easy mode, which is the most moronic thing that I think I've ever heard. Like, that's a terrible take. I will say, I don't think that Dark Souls, Elden Ring, all of the FromSoft games like that, I don't think those should have a difficulty slider. I don't think you should be able to enter the game, pick easy, medium, or hard. Because those games are designed around overcoming a challenge. Doom, yeah, exactly. Doom, all the way back to Doom 1993, has had a difficulty slider. With the lowest being, oh shoot. I can remember Hurt Me Plenty is one of them. I think Not Too Rough is the second. It, like, that kind of stuff. And then you get up to, like, Nightmare, Ultra Nightmare, that are for the people who want that difficulty level. And it doesn't make sense to me. But then you have people on the other side that are saying, I should be able to have a baby poo-poo easy mode for Elden Ring because this game's too hard. Like, there is a spot where certain games, yes, should have a difficulty slider, and certain games shouldn't. Don't hurt me. Yeah, I think Razor Bolt's right. I think I'm Too Young to Die is the easiest one. Wolfenstein has one. I know the Wolfenstein one pops up with a picture of the main character with a pacifier and a bonnet for the lowest mode.
And everybody's like, oh, that's hurtful. That hurts people's feelings.
Yeah, like, you know what? I understand that there are some people who play games a lot more casually, and when they get home from work, they want to just relax and shoot Nazis. Like, they want to have a power trip running through being an 80s action hero and all that kind of stuff. Yes, can I play Daddy? That's what it is. That's what the Wolfenstein mode is. And you know what? I think that's funny. I think Wolfenstein having a mode being like, haha, you're playing on the easy one. I think that's kind of funny. Like, if you're really going to get offended that you're going to play that mode, then clearly the game wasn't meant for you in the first place. But it's, you know, there are some people who want to sit down and play a game easy. I don't have an issue with that at all. As a matter of fact, when it comes to playing Halo, I usually prefer to play on... I like Heroic. Heroic, I think, feels like the right amount of difficulty. If I play on easy, it's not fun because I just stomp through everything. If I play on Legendary, it is a terrible experience and I feel like I'm suffering. So that's the kind of thing where, yeah, I need the difficulty slider on something like Halo. Isn't potentially ticking off some random person's... Yeah, that... The issue with ridiculing low difficulty modes is you're telling people who play video games more casually that they're not allowed to... It's gatekeeping. It's 100% gatekeeping, and it's wrong. Now, again, like I said, Dark Souls shouldn't have a difficulty slider. It's baked into the game that you are here to overcome these challenges. And if you can't overcome it, you haven't worked hard enough yet. You got to push it a little harder. And you know what? There are people who aren't going to like that. There are people who are going to say, yeah, no, I don't want to sit down and really struggle at a game for a long period of time. I just want to sit down and relax and have fun. Completely understandable. Absolutely. 100%. I get that. Me personally, I absolutely adore the games. Was there a point in time when they were just ball-bustingly difficult to me? Yeah, 100%. Everyone has to start from square zero. Now, they're more manageable. Still difficult, but the challenge is fair and fun. Now, there are times when the challenge crosses fair and fun into gimmicky and BS, but that's a different conversation. See, yeah, Persona. I think absolutely RPGs should have a difficulty mode. I think a difficulty mode should be standard with most games because it just makes sense.
Now, remember Baldur's Gate 3, how its difficulty mode is like, hey, well, this is kind of how it goes. It basically just gives the enemies a little bit more, you know?
Right.
Like, oh, they now have legendary actions. Oh, now they're acting like they do in the Monster Manual.
Yeah.
Or the Monster Manual, if you're that guy.
Well. Yeah, and that's exactly it. And there are certain games, too, that I think don't have a difficulty slider because it's just like does Overcooked have a difficulty slider? Because like that's the kind of game.
No, the game is just difficult by itself because you're stuck with your 4 friends playing a video game.
Yes, of course. But that's the kind of game that like Castle Crashers doesn't have a difficulty slider. I think Castle Crashers. And
once you beat the game,
you get the brutal.
You can go back and
Is it called brutal? I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, you can go back and play the game on a more difficult. Yeah, that's exactly like that's something that makes sense. That's the kind of thing. Now, I will say, as funny as it is, I don't love Stalker's difficulty levels because Stalker is actually more difficult the lower the difficulty is. As backwards as that is.
That's kind of funny.
It's hilarious. So basically, when you play Stalker on easy mode, the enemies have worse aim, but everything is more of a bullet sponge. When you put it up to the hardest difficulty, everything dies in like one bullet. So, yeah, but you die in one bullet.
They are God mode.
You'll die in one bullet. If they come around the corner and they catch you off guard and they shoot you, you're dead. But if you poke your head out and you pop somebody in the head, they're gonna die. See, I think that makes sense. Deciding the strength and that augments what you receive based on the difficulty you have. The South Park difficulty slider? What was South Park's difficulty slider? I never played any of those games. What was the South Park The Stick of Truth and South Park The Fractured Butthole?
Yeah. It was dumb.
So yeah,
I remember those games being just stupid.
I know they were stupid. I never played them, but yeah, the Bravely Default idea, like that, with the hey, I'll face more difficult foes to get more XP and better items, like that makes sense. But I think it also, each one of these is it has its cases that it works in. Like, I don't think Dark Souls would necessarily work with Bravely Default's thing. I don't think Doom would. Oh, you could determine that outside of the difficulty. Okay, gotcha. See, I like the concept of, okay, well, I want an easy fight, but that's only going to give me a little bit of stuff. Or we can go for a difficult fight, and that's going to get me more rewards. Like I like that concept. That's a decent concept. Um, I think Monster Hunter has something similar like that, right? Where it's like you can take the easier jobs facing the easier monsters, but you're eventually going to have to step it up to the more difficult ones. Like the more difficult the monster, the better the reward.
I never played.
I think that's.
I never played Monster Hunter.
Kind of. I mean, I guess Monster Hunter just works in a progression system where it just goes as it goes on. There's more difficult encounters. It just as a nature of progressing difficulty in the game. Performance-based difficulty, yes. Performance-based difficulty, you have to be very careful with. That's one you gotta be like. I think performance-based difficulty can work, but you've gotta be very careful. Okay, yeah, so Monster Hunter is the progression, low rank, high rank, master rank. Yeah. I don't even know who Nick A30 is, Ian. I don't know who that is. Yeah, performance-based difficulty, I've seen it work once. What game was that? Was it Crypt of the Necrodancer that did that? Boss and mobs have new rear drops. The higher the difficulty, you would like it. See, that I think that's interesting. And again, I don't think that would work in every game. But I think there are games that could work with. That's the thing. I think a difficulty slider needs to be adjusted for each game. Like there's no difficulty slider for online games. The difficulty slider for online games is how good are you? If you're really good at the game, you're going to be playing it against other people who are really good at the game. If you suck at the game, you're playing against other people who suck. The difficulty is mostly going to be flat, although there is plenty of times when, you know, you match a silver up with a freaking gold player or a platinum player, you know, however the ranking systems go. But, you know, that's another thing. Ian, okay. You want context on the last time that I played Fortnite? I played Fortnite when it was still Fortnite Save the World. That was the last time I played Fortnite. I have never played or even cared about the Fortnite Battle Royale. So, yeah, I have no idea who Nick A30 is.
Yeah, we're old guys.
There is, it's called ranked. There's a difficulty slider for rivals. Oh, for the AI, yeah. Okay, Dauntless, you love Digimon. Ian was saying earlier that whenever I was trying to explain it, that Digimon is just a knockoff of Pokemon. I'm like, no, it's not a knockoff of Pokemon. As a matter of fact, in Japan, it came out first. And Pokemon is not a knockoff of Digimon either. They're two completely different things. They competed because they fill the same niche of, hey, cute little monster turns into a death machine, but they're conceptually, they're not even close. The matchmaking is not based on skill, but what win-loss pattern keeps you playing longest. Yes, now that's true. Oh. Yeah, and I don't care. Not saying I don't care about what you're saying right now. I'm saying I don't care about the drama. I won't have a side in that. Like, okay, you know, it's like calling Yu-Gi-Oh! A Pokemon knockoff. Yes, exactly. It's like calling Pokemon a Magic the Gathering knockoff. They're two completely different things. Yeah, surface level similarities, exactly. It's the same in the sense of monster turns into bigger monster. Yeah, but with the comparison of like, oh, Pokemon has a little lizard with fire that turns into a bigger lizard with fire, and then it turns into a dragon. Where Digimon is like, hey, yeah, I had this little lizard dude with big claws, and then he got into a bigger lizard dude, and then now he's like a transformer. Oh yeah, this
Yeah,
little rabbit,
Digimon's weird.
that rabbit turns into an actual gun. Yeah, exactly. Dino turns into big dino, turns into fridge with guns, and the final form is a big titty gun arm monster. Yeah, exactly. They're both knockoff of dogfights. Okay, Michael Vick. All right.
That's actually pretty fucking funny.
Oh boy. There are a lot of guns in I don't remember which one it is, but there is one Digimon that its final form is literally just a giant gun. Like, legitimately. Oh boy, Digimon is wild. Little Batwing mouse turns into an angel. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think difficulty is definitely something that goes game by game. So like, you know, just look through my games library. Borderlands. Borderlands has a set difficulty for each playthrough.
It also gets harder if you have more players.
Yes, it gets more difficult when there's more players, and it gets progressively more difficult with each extra playthrough. Dark Souls, one set difficulty that everybody shares in. And there are certain difficulty adjustments that get made. Like if you summon somebody else for a fight, a boss has extra health because you have a helper. You have advantage. So it gives the boss extra health to compensate for that. There's certain stuff like that Dark Souls has. Fallout New Vegas has a difficulty mode. Has difficulty settings. And I'm pretty sure it's very easy, normal, hard, very hard. And then there's a hardcore mode that adds extra stuff with it. Borderlands 3 was weird with it. What did Borderlands 3 do? Borderlands 3 had a slider? Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was not worth it. It was actually very bad.
Huh. Yeah, I don't remember that at all. Oh, Left 4 Dead had a typical difficulty mode. Lethal Company. Lethal Company doesn't have a difficulty slider. It's just...
That is very true.
It forces you to tackle more difficult challenges the longer your run goes.
Yes.
New Game Plus. Oh, like I mean, Dark Souls. Yeah, there's New Game Plus. There's a lot of games have a New Game Plus. I'm not gonna count that because not everybody does. Like I think I've only ever done New Game Plus once in Dark Souls, and that was for DS2 because DS2 actually adds a lot of things. This is a hill I will die on. Dark Souls 2 has the best New Game Plus out of any of the FromSoft games. Better than DS1, better than 3, better than Bloodborne, better than Elden Ring, better than them all. You got Left 4 Dead 2 for 99 cents? That's a freaking steal, dude. Left 4 Dead 2 is fantastic. Let's see. What other games? I actually have Balloons Tower Defense in my freaking Steam library. Why do I have that? But like Balloons, it's an infinite. It goes on forever, progressively getting more and more and more and more difficult. To the point where it becomes impossible. And that's the way Lethal is.
As close to impossible.
Yeah, as close to impossible as you can get. Castle Crashes, we already talked about it. You have to beat it to get a higher difficulty mode, which I think
Yeah.
is different from New Game Plus, because like Dark Souls New Game Plus is like, hey, the bosses have more health and deal more damage. You know, you're not gonna outscale things as easily. That's the way New Game Plus works in Dark Souls. Minecraft, yeah, Minecraft does have a hard mode, and it has hardcore that, you know, you dead. I think there's all kinds of different difficulties that work in games. It just depends on the game. I think there are some games too that are just inherently difficult, that it's good that they're inherently, like the original Fallout games. Those are inherently difficult games.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, exactly. They're oppressive. But one, that was kind of just the MO for designing games at the time. And two, I don't know that the games would feel as satisfying if they weren't difficult. Hollow Knight has a bit of both. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hollow Knight's got. I mean, Hollow Knight has a set difficulty that you can just play through the game on, but and there is augments that you can do, like that. You beat the game, you get Steel Soul, where if you die, you die. God Home has
You're dead,
the
you're dead.
yeah, you dead. God Home has the hey, here's the boss normal, here's the boss, but it deals double damage. Here's the boss, but you die in one hit. Like that's, I think that's fun. Not everybody is going to be able to beat every single boss on Radiant because yeah, it's remarkably difficult. But for those of us who can, I don't know why I said us. I can't beat every boss on Radiant. Uh, th- those who can have uh something they can be like, hey, look at what I can do. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Metroid series, Mario, yeah. Typically those games don't have a difficulty slider, but you go back to the old Mario games and they're pretty tough. Tried playing Fallout 2 and you got your computer, but gave up shortly after because you had no clue what was going on. That's part of the issue with the Fallout games. I would definitely say start with the first Fallout because it's a little bit more. It doesn't expect you to already have the knowledge from the first Fallout game going into it. And there are definitely moments where you're just like, how on earth was I supposed to figure that out? But that was also just 90s games. Dude, go back to the old 90s point and click games and look at some of the puzzles that they had in those. Some of them are ridiculous. Legitimately, you're like, how was I supposed to figure this out in freaking 1995 without the internet to just look it up and figure out what the answer was?
Yeah. That's when you had to go get like Game Informer magazines.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You had to dig through a freaking magazine or some newsletter or something like that. See if the game had a manual to help you out. Myst. Yeah, Myst is a big one. You had the Monkey's Island series. Monkey Island I mean there was multiple Monkey Island games. What else? There was Alone in the Dark was a point and click game. Back when Game Informer was good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember, okay, we went to different elementary schools, but I gotta ask this. Did you ever go into the library in elementary school and pull the, like, Nintendo Power and Game Informer magazines that just told you about all the new games and sit there and read them in the library?
No, we didn't have that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
My elementary school did not allow us to do that.
We had those in my elementary school's library, and absolutely they now I will say it was one of those things where it was like if we were supposed to read a book for a class assignment, we couldn't read one of those, but they had a section with all the game stuff. And if it was one of those days where it's like, hey, we're going to the computer lab that's in the library, you can play games on the computer or you can read. There are some games some days when I would sit down and I'd play things like Balloons Tower Defense, which was the bee's knees when I
The
was a
game.
kid. It was the game that all the kids were playing. Uh, or I would sit down and read one of those Game Informer Nintendo Power things
Yeah,
and just be
we
amazed.
yeah, we did not have those. Mainly because the kids that I went to school with were a bunch of dipshits,
Yeah, that's fair.
even in elementary school.
Yeah, you know what? That's funny. I ended up in the elementary school. I don't know how. I ended up in the elementary school with all the rich kids, even though I was not
Yeah.
rich. By
I think it's just because of all the private neighborhoods, right around there.
yeah, I mean, I guess that's the. And I was
Because
probably,
I know where you went to.
I think I was also just in that school district. But
Yeah, because that was a very weird school district. Whereas my neighborhood was, funny enough, cut in half.
right, yeah,
Like, we got to pick what school we wanted to go to. And my mother had me go to the one I went to because she was like, they let me sit in on the classes.
ah. For a long time, school
And
Newgrounds. Oh god. Oh yeah, dude, Cool Math Games. Freaking Cool Math. Yeah, that was what everybody was allowed to play on. I played on like addicting games and armor games and max games on my personal computer at home, but Cool Math was the only one that most schools allowed. Because all the other ones could have the inappropriate adult games. But Cool
yeah.
Math was just like Balloons Tower Defense and Boombot. Boombot was another one. Calling BS on what story group? There's no way Eli went to school.
That's very funny, group.
I was like, what? What? You telling me that I'm faking being poor? I thought that's what he was gonna go after. or that I went to the rich school even though I was poor. But no, Eli didn't go to school. Oh, they talked about banning Cool Math at my schools.
Yeah.
War of Ages? Wait, wait. Hold on. I think I know that one. No, not a band. War of Ages game. Yeah! Age of War! Age of War! Age of War is what it was called. Yeah, oh, hold on. Oh, I don't know. No, it's a freaking Flash game from the mid 2000s. There's no shot the music that played for it is DMCA'd, right?
I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't trust the DMCA rules on YouTube.
I don't know that I do either. I'm very hesitant.
I'm currently taking over the world as Mongolia. Where? Oh, there it is.
I'm glad I looked it up. The guy who makes the music is copyrighted. He's a YouTuber. He's the same guy who made
Oh, that's dope.
a lot of the tracks for Geometry Dash too. So I will not be playing that. But in high school, one of the coding kids installed an ingrained version of Halo 2, so all school computers had a copy, and they just didn't. That's awesome.
That's actually highly hysterical. I really like that one.
Yeah, that one's great. I know I faffed about with some of the school stuff because I knew how to what was it? I got away with it in middle school because I knew how to make it. What was it? Opening a it wasn't a virtual machine. That wasn't really something you could do as easily back then. Yeah, it was basically where you're making it look like the only program you have open is the browser you have. What was it that I did? Oh, you know what? It might have been as simple as having the game in a separate browser and minimizing that and clicking off of it every single time the teacher came to look.
That sounds way too much like you.
I think that's exactly what I did. That's uh oh, Dauntless is asking how you can play Risk, or rather how you can play Civ. Said he'd rather play
Oh,
Risk.
I can?
Yeah. He said
I really enjoy these kind of games.
He said it's the most brain dead gameplay ever made.
Not the current one. The current one, they have changed a lot. You actually kind of have to pay attention, especially on higher difficulties. As I discovered during my stream.
But
I came very close to losing.
Yeah, group, we might not have had restrictions on our elementary school computers. I don't remember that as well. I mean, that's been a while.
Yeah,
now.
because we were stupid.
We were stupid kids. Like, most of us weren't. But yeah, definitely starting middle school, it was like, yeah, we need to put filters on this so kids aren't looking up illicit material. Schools are too advanced with their surveillance now to try that. Yeah, and teachers are too tech savvy now. Unless you got one of the older teachers that's still sticking around. When I was in school, it was like what, 2010 was when we started middle school. And most of the teachers still had no idea how to work a computer.
That is very true. Which
So,
was really funny because
oh my gosh,
they were
so easy
teaching us computer classes.
Teaching us computer classes when they didn't even understand half of what they were talking about.
I loved the typing classes that it was like, I'm a faster typer than you at 11 years old.
Right.
You should be ashamed.
Yeah, exactly. Because they do the thing where they float over with their just pointer fingers, and it's just like tap, tap, tap. Here, wait, I have a keyboard right here. That's one of the clicky keyboards. It literally, the teacher would be like, so, today we're going to be learning about, Yugoslavia.
That's not great.
In the 1980s.
Yeah, no,
That's literally
Dude,
what it was. Like, 100%. And you're like, oh my gosh. Learn to type with your whole hand. Oh, I 100%. I stare at the keyboard while I type. That's something I've never been able to break myself from. You're 3 in 2010. Have Nitro type? I don't recognize Nitro
what?
type. Competitive typing game? Oh, this looks familiar.
Oh, yeah.
When it's got the cars. Yeah. Yeah, we did have that. There was a bunch of other ones that we had too. We had a lot of different typing games. Yeah, I do the same thing though. I death stare my keyboard. And I don't do the quote unquote proper keyboard setup where you have your left hand on, what is it, ASDF, and you have your right hand on
ASDF, no, it's right index on F, left index on F, index on J.
Right.
And you splay your fingers on that line. I don't do that either, but I also type at this really weird look that the only two keys I can't hit are 5 and 6.
Yo, Mikey, what's up? Making you feel old. Math Circus? Math Circus sounds familiar. Yeah, see, I'm just like, my hands float all over the keyboard, so I'll end up with like, when I'm typing something, I'll end up with like my left hand up on QWE and my right hand down on XCV or something like that. I just move my hands all around the keyboard. There's no rhyme or reason for whenever I'm typing. Like, I'll just type what came. I still don't type very fast. I will admit I'm not a fast typer, but that's mostly because it's like, okay, do you have dyslexia?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I do. And sometimes that makes it very hard to type. But mine is not the kind where I mix around letters in a word. Mine is the type where I will pull words from the lines above and below what I'm reading. So like whenever I would
don't
read a
have
book,
that problem.
oh my gosh, dude! Sometimes reading a book took me forever because I would just read, like, my brain would grab a word from the line above and pull it into the line I'm reading. And I'd have to stop and reread the line. The same thing happens when I'm trying to type. And so sometimes, like, I have to pause and look at the keyboard for a second again to be like, okay, that's the right key. It's very annoying.
Just get better at typing, man. It's not that hard.
Shut up. You don't have dyslexia, you freaking jackass. Yes, most keyboards do have a notch on F and J. And that's why I was saying, like, ASDF, because that's just where your fingers sit. But yeah, I guess it is just you put your index on F, index on J, and leave it there.
And you just kind of go, man.
You never liked book reports? Oh, dude, book reports were annoying. There was one class that both of us had where the teacher let us do what we wanted for book reports, which was we were supposed to do a biography, I believe.
Yes.
It was she was like, you got to do a biography. So we got stuck into a reading class,
intensive reading
because we failed one of the standardized tests that they did. And
yeah,
it was like the dumbest
this is
thing.
back when they had the FCAT.
Yes.
Wait, no, this was the first year they changed off of the FCAT to the whatever it was.
I don't remember what it was called, but it was stupid. And when you're sitting in a room with a bunch of freaking knuckle-dragging troglodytes who can't sit still or stop making noise, like they're constantly talking to each other, or you got somebody sitting there playing bongos on the desk or clicking their pen constantly, like, it's freaking impossible for me to focus. As someone with ADD, like, I'm supposed to be in a separate room for people with ADD, and they just didn't do that at our school. So, of course, I failed the reading section of the test, and both of us did. We get stuck into this reading class. It becomes very clear to the teacher.
Do you want to know why I failed?
Why?
Because I never showed up for the
test. I was going to say, was that the one you just didn't show up? So you failed for a very different reason than me. But we both end up in this class.
I just never showed up, and they never had me retake it.
Right. We both end up in this class, and we're like, we don't belong here. And the teacher's like, yeah, sure, that's what they all say. And then the class starts, and she's like, oh, you guys don't belong here. And we're like, yeah, we tried to tell you. This is not a class for us.
Yeah.
Used to read books, daily book reports, forced on books I didn't like, written for people twice or thrice my age, maybe lose all interest in reading. Exactly. Exactly. But that's what we had to do that. One of the book reports for that class was to do a biography. And both of us looked at each other and we were like, I'm not doing a biography, are you? No. All right. What are you going to do? And so well, okay. I'll tell you how it started. I'm like, I don't want to do a biography, and you go, I'm not doing a biography. I'm like, what do you mean? That's the assignment. We have to do that. And so you bring to the teacher, what book was it that you wanted to do?
Game of Thrones,
Wasn't it a Song of
A Song of Fire and Ice.
Fire and Ice? And
The very first book.
and then I was like, she's never gonna let you do that. And he takes it up to the teacher, and she's like, no, it's supposed to be a biography. And he's like, okay, either you let me do it on Game of Thrones or I'm not doing it. And she's like, fine. And I go, wait, we can do that? And she's like, no, you. She's like, because I'm right near him whenever he asks her. I'm like, oh, in that case, can I do Hitchhiker's Guide? She's like, all right, fine, but don't tell anybody else that I'm letting you guys do that. I'm like, all right, sweet. And then we both wrote killer book reports on books we actually wanted to write it about. And she's like, you guys annoy me, but at least you do your work. And we're like, yeah, we're intelligent, but
This
we're not going to be
teacher was
freaking...
also incredibly young.
Oh, yeah. She's probably the age we are now when she had us as students. Actually, probably a little bit. She like 22?
She was, yeah. She was only 22 when she had us.
There's a book report where you had to review a banned book. See, that sounds fun. That sounds fun. No Mein Kampf. Now, that's disappointing, but... Really, Razor? See, I loved the book, but I've never watched the movie because I've heard the book is just way better than the movie. That's interesting. You're the first person I've ever heard say they didn't like the book, but they liked the movie. You think every elementary school went to school one day to discover a substitute teacher, and we all said we're gonna make her cry? Oh yeah, this wasn't a substitute. This was just a really young teacher.
This was no joke, like her first year teaching.
Yeah, 100%. And she might have... Was she 20? 20,
She was
21,
young.
22. She was real young. It was one of those things where...
I remember I went into her class a few years, a little bit later, and I was like, yo. And I was like, yo, Miss, last name that I won't say on the air.
Yeah.
And she was like, I got married, Eli. And I was like, don't really care. You know. And she was like, well, it's not nice to call people by a name that isn't their last name. And I was like, also, still don't really care.
I did the same thing to another teacher that we had. I still called her by her old, like, when my sister went to the school we went to, and I got to go back and see her, I still called her by her old. She's like, I've been married since you were in my class 6 years ago. Why are you still calling me that? I'm like, oh, because that's what I called you.
Because that's your name.
That's your name. It's like, it's not my name anymore. I'm like, well, it was your name when I met you, so that's your name forever. Your last day of school, you're gonna call your teachers their first name. I really wish I had another relative going into that high school, because I would love to go back for orientation and just walk up to all my old teachers and be like, yo, Mike, what's up, dude? Hey, Patrick. And just them be like, what is wrong with you? Feel like, what are you talking about?
Why are you allowed?
It's like, technically you're allowed to call me that because you're not my student anymore, but I still hate it.
Funny enough, one of the teachers that you brought up, I did run into outside. I was like at a Wawa of all
Really?
places. Yeah, he was like, he looks at me, looks back because I had like full beard. I did not look like my teenage self. And he goes, Eli? And I was like, I whipped around and was like, I didn't do it this time, I swear. And he goes, yep, that's you.
Yeah, that's on brand. You have 2 young siblings, your school, so next year you might pull up and do that. Yeah, that would be fun. See, for me, it's been almost 10 years since I left high school. That still hurts every time I say it. But yeah, I'd be rolling
We're
up
getting
mid
close to our
20s
10-year
like,
reunion.
what's up? Oh my gosh, it is almost a 10-year reunion. I don't want to see these people. Most of these people. There are some people that I wouldn't mind seeing again. But yeah, definitely most of the people that we went to school with, I'd prefer to not see again. That would be funny though if, like, what is it, 2 years from now? I gotta roll up and be like, yeah, I'm a YouTuber. Like, that would be funny.
You know how much they would make fun of you for that?
Oh yeah, dude, and like, absolutely, they could make fun of, like, okay, yeah, you want to make fun of me? Let's look at it this way: you spend $100,000 a year on college, and I have no student debt. So, who's really winning? I think people that said high school was the best years of my life were either bullies or potheads. See, I really enjoyed high school. I can't lie. Looking back, there are certain things that I'd love to go back to. Mainly the freedom.
Yeah, I could get up. Okay, I did. You didn't because you were actually a fairly decent student.
Yeah. Most of the
I
time.
got up when I wanted to. I barely went to school.
You also had other extenuating issues during senior year that caused you to miss school. No, we get out of school. Okay. So I'll tell you this. We had our last day of school, and then it was, I think, a month, and then it was my birthday, my 18th birthday, and then 2 days later, graduation.
Yeah.
So, okay, Eli graduated because his mom came into the school and basically told him off. It was a family issue that kept him out of school. He was not just skipping school. It was a family issue that he missed a whole quarter of our senior year. And when they said,
and also to put into effect, I was working full time, taking care of my younger siblings,
right,
and managing a lot of other family shit. And they were like, oh. Especially when they were like, oh, he works full time? Okay, well, that's kind of different. And I was like, really? You all know I work full time, too.
yeah, that was the thing. Like, they were like, we're gonna fail you, and your mom was like, no, you're not. We're like, what do you mean? Just like, he's taking care of his younger siblings. He's working a full-time job, and he just lost a family member. Like, you're not going to fail him. And they were like, okay, we're not going to fail him.
You're right. You have won this time.
They're like, yep, nope, we're not going to fail him. Yeah, no, I never skipped school in high school. Because I mean, my parents would have had my ass if I had tried to do that. I would have been in so much trouble if I tried to skip school. Because the thing was too, my dad's told me stories about skipping school in the 80s and how all you had to do was get home to catch the call. Because it was just an automated call to the home telephone. Hey, your child is not in school. And all you had to do was make it to that phone, pick up that call, and hang it up, and you're good. You're then free and clear for the rest of the day. Not how it works in modern times, because not only do they call both of your parents, they do everything in their power to notify your parents that you aren't at school. And if your parents do not give some sort of note or notify them that you're not going to be in school, or answer the call and say, hey, yeah, he's sick, or, you know, we're calling him out of school today, something like that, you got marked for absence. So it's a whole thing now. You can't skip classes as easily now. You went to everyday school, attended all your classes, did almost no work. Never failed most tests, but passed every major exam, no failed classes. Yeah, I graduated with, I think I had a 4.0 at graduation. Granted, I did not. Granted, I will say it was a weighted 4.0. That was including the AP classes that I took, but I was like, you know what? I got a 4.0. I'm cool with that. I don't need one of these freaking 9.8 weighted GPAs that some of these kids got from only taking AP classes. I
wonder if anybody could take a guess at how low mine was.
Weighted or unweighted? Because unweighted, I think I had a 3.5. Isn't that much different? Which isn't a huge difference.
Was not that much. Mine was not that big of a difference.
Was there study passion in high school? Well, okay, so I'll give you the way I was thinking in high school. All through middle and high school, I wanted to make video games. That was what I wanted to do. And it's still something that interests me now, but I ultimately don't know that that's going to be what I do. But that's what I wanted to do. And I had a tendency, so freshman, sophomore, junior year, I was like, I'm going to complete the work that's in front of me. Senior year did not go that way. Senior year, I checked out really hard. And I was like, if I can't finish this work in school, I'm not going to do it. Oh, have a good night, group. You didn't have to stick around that long. Yeah, I definitely, I got the opinion of if I can't do this work at school, if you're going to make me take this home, I'm not going to do it. So, yeah, I sat and pretty much did work solid the entire time I was at school. If I finished my work in a class, I was doing homework for the previous class. I was doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah. If I got homework and I couldn't finish it in school, I didn't finish it. That was just the way I felt. I'm like, I felt that there was no point in being given 8 days worth of homework in a single night. Oh, well, it's only an hour of homework. Yeah, but I have 6 other classes that gave me an hour of homework. Yeah. I'm not doing that. You literally want me to sit and do 7 hours worth of homework after getting home from school and then just go straight to bed, wake up, and go back to school. You want this to literally be an all-consuming thing. No, thank you.
Yeah.
That's
I just didn't do any work in past classes.
I see.
Or actually failed a lot of classes.
I was present when I was in class. I'm like, yeah, I'll do work. Most of the time it was stupid and I finished it pretty easily, but I'll do the work. You're not gonna make me do work outside of it, outside of school. Uh, SATs. SATs were. I think my SAT score was an 1100, which wasn't that great. It was just fine. But it wasn't like incredibly impressive. It was just like, oh yeah, you finished the SAT, you did about average, which once again, that was about the time that I had checked out, so I didn't really care as much.
Do you remember what my SAT score was?
No.
Because a lot of people got very upset with me for my SAT score.
I was 16 when I took it, Dauntless. I guarantee if I took it now, I'd do better on it.
I'd probably do worse because I got a 1450.
Yeah, 1450s. That's why everybody was pissed at you, because you never showed up and you still got a 1450.
Yeah, I showed up, took the exam, hung over from the night before about partying, and still scored higher than the class valedictorian in her first test.
Yep, that's what it was. See, we have the option to take either the SET or the ACT, Razor. And Dauntless, the only thing it does is tell colleges, hey, you did well on a standardized test.
Oh, and my what I liked to study was English. Funny enough, English poetry.
Yeah,
I was that guy.
That's the way I feel now, where it's like, if I'm not interested in something, I'm not going to learn about it. You know, like if...
Oh, I actually have a really off-the-wall question for you.
Okay.
Because I got on a dino kick lately
it's
after
not
our
these
last
animal
podcast.
Fight questions that you were asking me all about yesterday, was it?
What is your favorite dinosaur?
Ooh. My favorite dinosaur. Hold on. That's a great question. What was that? What's your favorite dinosaur?
Ankylosaur.
Okay.
Because he looks dumb. I love him because he just looks so dumb.
27 composite on the ACT. I don't know how good that is because I never took the ACT. I don't know the grading scale for that. See, I'm trying to remember. Because
Because I know you like the Spinosaurus.
I do like the Spinosaurus a lot. Although I will say, as much as I love Jurassic Park 3, the Spinosaurus is very misleading in that one.
That is... A T-Rex would absolutely dumpster a Spinosaurus.
A Spinosaurus is much smaller than a T-Rex.
Well,
much
they're
smaller.
Actually about the same size, but they're built completely differently. Spinosaurus walks on all four legs and is more like an alligator.
Yes. Well, but the thing is, the Spinosaurus was a comparable size to the T-Rex because of the giant fin on its back.
Yes.
Uh, Other than that, it's smaller.
Yeah. It has a longer head, a longer
Yes.
skull,
Yeah.
but it's also made to eat fish, which most animals, if you're eating fish, have longer jaws. But funny enough, um I my favorite extinct animal does not come from the dinosaurs.
Oh, mine doesn't either. Okay, I will say there is another dinosaur that I really like that I don't know the name of. I had a toy of it when I was a kid, and it was a herbivore, but it had these gigantic claws. And it used these claws to reach up to the tops of trees and pull them down so it could eat the leaves off the top of trees. Um, I don't remember what it was called.
Was it the raptor looking thing?
It looks kind of like a raptor, yes, but it's fairly large.
Yes, it was in the last Jurassic World.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And all paleontologists make fun of that movie because it's so inaccurate.
Yeah, this is the guy. Therizinosaurus.
Pulls up a
Let's see.
pulls up a photo.
Let's see. Therizinosaurus toy. I want to find the one that I had as a kid. Now, get all these new Jurassic Park ones out of here.
I really liked it's kind of funny, the Terror Bird. Have you heard of that one?
That sounds familiar.
It was a 10-foot tall bird from the Ice Age area. It often came in conflict with Smilodon or saber-toothed cat,
Okay, that's pretty cool. Razor.
and it could run like 45 miles an hour.
Gotcha.
It's the scariest thing you'd ever see. And it's like, if humans had popped up around that time, we would have been not long for the world. We already had enough problems.
Uh,
Short-faced bear.
but yeah, dinosaurs Diablos. All right. Um, I think one of my favorite prehistoric creatures is the Dunkleosutus, I think is how you say it. Do you know which one that is?
I'm pulling it up now. Oh, the fish?
Yeah, the big ass fish with the flat face, and he's just like all bone.
Yeah.
That guy looks freaking cool.
He just looks so dumb.
He looks really dumb, but open image in new tab. Here he is. Here's one of my favorite prehistoric creatures. The Dunkleosutus. Okay,
He
so
looks so dumb.
I gotta ask this. I had these things when I was a kid that my grandmother bought me that were called, I think they were weird and wild creature cards.
Nope, never had him.
They were. Do you at least know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. Never had them.
I had the whole collection. Oh, you freaking.
Of course you did.
So, well, because they were a subscription, and my grandmother just got them all for me. So, that was where I learned about quite a few different uh, animals and mythical creatures that I know about now. This is what they were. And this was the where I knew about the Dunkleosutis. And it's 400 million years ago, long before the dinosaurs walked the earth. Dunkleosutis was at the top of the world's food chain. One of the first jawed animals on the planet, this prehistoric armored fish attacked its prey with bone-crunching ferocity. This fish's body was bulky and extremely muscular. It needed the muscle power to propel itself through the water when it attacked prey. Dunkleosutis' skull is made of several pieces of thick bone, giving it an armor plating that no other creature could break through. Like that kind of stuff. And there's so many. Like there's a megalodon one here. Stegosaurus. Ooh, Sarcosuchus. That's one of the giant alligators or crocodiles.
Yeah.
Length up to 40 feet.
That's been my favorite. One of my favorite things is somebody explained, like, when it comes to evolution, crocodilians are hammers.
Yeah.
They don't change. They have stayed the same for so long.
They just got smaller.
They got big, they got small, they got big. Now they're at a medium size. They walked on land for a bit.
Oh yeah, dude, looking through these, some of these are so they bring back nostalgia.
Also, absolutely, I love the branch in dinosaur. So they branch out the genos where it goes crocodilian, and then it's like lizards, flying lizards, dinosaurs, and it has this giant step down thing, and it's just crocodilian has no step after it, and it's like that's great.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, I really loved the Allosaurus card for this set too, because it had this the Allosaurus is this. It was green and red. It's like main body green with red stripes, and that just looks so cool to me. Dinosaurs are much cooler like this than they are with feathers. Controversial take, I know. Do I consider myself title card? You mean nice? Like the meme with 69? Is that what you're trying to say? I don't know what you're trying to say, Ian, but what else is there? Yeah, they had a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde card.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the how do you say that? Chalicotherium? I probably butchered that.
Okay, we have been going for 2 hours.
Yeah,
so...
we gotta wrap this up. All right, so, we rambled on for a bit there, but thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm probably just playing Elden Ring again, guys. I gotta be honest. It's time for the
Hey, you're
Radon
missing
grind.
something, bro.
No, I'm not. I'm totally not missing anything. I don't know what you're talking about. There are no quotes. There is no war in Bossing
My-
Say.
Son of a bitch, you. I have to go find mine again because I lost it. Used that one before, damn it.
I struggle to find a new quote. We've had to do this 69 times.
Okay. The tree that would grow to heaven must send its roots to hell. Frederick Nietzsche. Something along those lines.
I love that quote, Razorbolt. That's one of the reasons I love Moon Knight. Told him I don't wear the white to hide myself. I wear it so they'll see me coming. So they'll know who's coming. Because when they see white, it doesn't matter how good a target I am. They'll shake you. The part you missed is they'll shake so much they couldn't hit the moon.
Yeah. Biatches. Ooh, I'm hungry.
It is important to draw wisdom from different places. If you take it from one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Iroh from Avatar.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Next week.
I might try. No, wait. D&D's Saturday. Never mind.
Yep. Next week, I'll try and mix it up. We'll get away from just doing Elden Ring. We're definitely
We need to do a group stream.
we're gonna do a group stream next week. We'll figure out
Supposed to
what
do
that
it
is.
next
If
week.
it's just the two of us, we'll probably do Marvel Rivals. But
Yeah.
we'll see if we can get the whole gang involved. But
I'll probably be playing more Civ 7 next week. I'm gonna finish out that game we started and probably get another one going.
sweet. But hope everybody has a good night. I'll catch you tomorrow. Tally
Peace
ho.
out, Girl Scouts. Tally ho, my bad. Oh wow, wrong stream. Big oof.